I'm going to show you a quick hack on the Eldenberry Blossoms mask pattern on how to make it so that you can easily put a filter inside of it. The way it is right now, there is a little gap to stuff things in, and you can do that, or you can put it over another mask. But it's not exactly practical for trying to stuff an actual filter or a homemade filter in there. So I'm going to show you a really quick, easy way to accommodate that, and that's by putting in little flaps like this. And I'm going to show you how to do that. So this one I have, it's got 2 layers in here, and then the filter, I wouldn't suggest to use this stuff as a filter. It's just thick interspacing. You can breathe through it, but it's really, really hot. So don't use something this thick, use something better. I still haven't figured out exactly what to use as a filter yet, but if you've figured it out, or if you're still like me and trying to figure out what's going to work best and what's safest, then keep working on it. But just so that you can see how easy it is to get it in there. This one's fusible, so it's sticking to the fabric, and I'm having a hard time getting it in. But theoretically, it would be a lot easier to stuff it in than with the way the mask pattern is right now. So you can just kind of stick it in the flaps like this and put it on your face. And then you have this nice mask that has a filter in it without too much fuss, and you can change it really quickly and not have to worry about how long it takes to stuff it in that little hole. So that's what I'm going to show you right now. This one's done, but I have another one cut out and ready to go. So it's basically the same construction. You want to sew your mask together, you want to serge the edge or just stitch it. You don't have to. I like doing that because then I remember I need to fold it over. So there's your outer fabric, and then you have your lining, and you do the same thing with that. This one I didn't serge, but that's okay. And then you're going to make these little pieces. So if you want to, you could just do the 2 layers, and you could skip the lining and just do the outer and the little flaps. I like having that extra piece of fabric in there. It just makes everything look nicer. If you don't have this, then the band will show. See how it hides the band in there? That's the only difference, is the band will show there. So you don't have to, but it goes on better, and it's not going to irritate your nose if the band is irritating your nose. Okay, so how do you get these little pieces? Let me show you. So what I did is I have my my pattern cut out right here. I have 2 pieces, one on top of the other. And then from the straight edge, I'm going to measure 3 inches. My ruler's 3 inches wide, so it makes it really easy. Just 3 inches from that edge, and all I'm going to do is chop off the end. Really easy, really fast. Just trying to figure out the easiest and quickest way to do this. Take out all the fuss. Okay, so now you have these 2 pieces, and what you need to do is you need to finish this edge. So you either hem it, you can serge it and then hem it, or just hem it however you want to. And then the same thing with the short edge, is you want to, what we're going to do is we're going to fold that in. So either serge it or you can leave it. It's just up to you how you want to do that. So you have these 2 pieces. See, I planned ahead. They're already done. I have it hemmed, and then I have this part serged. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold that over, because like I said, we're going to need that folded to finish it, and you'll see why in a minute. And then I'm going to pin it like that. There's 1, there's 2. So that one is folded and pinned. And this one I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to fold it over and pin it like that, and like that. Okay, so we have those pieces pinned. Now we're going to do the same thing with this. We're going to fold it and pin it, and you want it to be on the wrong side of the fabric. So fold it into the wrong side and then pin it. And actually you can pin it to this. So these ones, you want it folded on the wrong side. Let me think this through. Yep, actually, You don't want to do those little pieces. You want to fold these two together. So you want your lining and your little flap folded together and pinned like that. So ignore what we just did. You want to do those together like this. I didn't pin the last one, so I had to think through this. Ouch. Okay, so there's that side. And then again, you want your right sides together, and you're just going to line up those edges, and you're going to fold it over to the wrong side and pin it. There we go. Okay, so that is all pinned. Now you have these flappy parts, and you want those to get sewn to the mask. So we're gonna pin that down where it naturally lays. So you're gonna just line it up with your lining fabric and pin it in there. And then do the same to this side. Gotta line it up. And pin it. Line it up, pin it. Pinning takes forever. If you can figure out how to do this without pinning, it'll go so much faster. Okay, so there we have it lined up and pinned. Now we're going to take our bands. There's one, there's two, and we're going to fold them in half, find the center, fold it in half, pin the center to the center of your mask, like so. And then measure out about 2 inches, making an adult large, so I'm going to go a little over 2 inches. And then pin that to the end. And then stretch it out like this, and you're gonna pin that where it lays. So you just kind of have to feel it and then pin it in there. And then this side we'll do a little over 2 inches to the end. There it goes. Stretch it out. Get that place. Pin that in. Clips are so much easier if you have access to clips, but I know not everyone does, so I'm using pins this time. Don't poke yourself. There's my center. Fold it over. Put it in the middle of the mask. I'm doing these both at the same time because it just makes it easier to serge it all at once. Or stitch it if you don't have a serger. That's completely okay. You can do everything you do on a serger on a regular machine. A little over 2 inches. Pin it there. Pull it out. Find that mark. Pin it there. Go here. A little over 2 inches, and pin. We're pinning, and pinning. Okay, find that mark, and pin it there. No, we're not done pinning yet, guys. This is almost over. Okay, so we have the lining and your pockets, and now we're going to put the front on. So do the center first. Now I'm going to skip a step here. I'm not going to do those center pins on each side. Give me a minute. Background noise. Okay. So, and then I'm going to fold this over just like we did on the other side. So we need to make sure that's important that we fold that right there, and we're going to pin it to the edge. Like that. So you're going through all your layers right there. Can get them. Make sure they're folded over the right way. Okay, and I'm actually just going to leave that one because when I'm sewing, I'm going to pull it, and as I pull it, I'm going to just hold my fingers there and pull that pin out actually. So I'm not going to worry about pinning that part right there. Fold this over. Find that edge pin. Make sure all my layers are going the way that I need them to go. And then pin it through all those layers. Okay, now we're going to do the other side. Pin the center. Fold it over. Make sure all my layers are going the right way. And then pin it all the way through. Like that. And then this side. Excuse me. Okay. Pull that up. All my layers going the right way. Pin it through. Okay, so now we have it pinned the way we want to. And we are going to stitch it. So bear with me just a moment, and I'm going to stitch this on my serger and come back to you. Okay, so I have that all sewn in, and now I'm going to tie off my ends. Whether you use a serger or a regular machine, it doesn't matter. You need to make sure you secure your ends so that way they don't come unraveled in the wash or with wear. So there's 1, 2. I just tie mine in a knot. You can weave them in. You can tie them off in your machine if you're using a regular machine. Just back and forward stitch a couple times. Sometimes that's good enough to keep it from coming undone. Just make sure you do it a few times. If you use a serger, there's a way to do it on your machine. I usually don't, though. Just find tying in a knot goes a lot faster because I have to snip my threads anyways. Okay, so I have this done. Now I'm going to turn it right side out. Pull my straps out. And there is this beautiful little mask with the flaps. Now, if you want to keep these open, theoretically you can. It's going to look basically the same because when you pull it, it doesn't really matter. But you can also stitch these closed, and that's why we folded them over when we were pinning, is because we're just going to run a little top stitch over here. So I'm going to pin these. I don't need a whole lot of pins, just want to pin it at the edges so I'm getting all my layers in there. Just throw an extra one in there just because. Okay, so I'm just going to run a little top stitch line right through there. And the same on this side. Fold my layers over. And then we'll throw a couple pins in there. There's 1. There's 2. There's 3. Okay, and then on my regular machine, all I'm going to do is top stitch that. When you get that done, you're going to have these nice little top stitches right there. It's going to be finished. It's not going to go through it all, and then you can put your mask in there or your filter. So what I did for a filter, I'll go over that real quick too. This stuff is way too thick. Like I said, it's way too thick for a filter. But whatever you decide to use. For this mask, what I did is I cut it to the size that I wanted it. I cut it adult large. And then I went and I trimmed off probably about 1 inch on the straight side, and then close to 1/2 inch on each side of the curve. And then I left this part the way it is, but I took a bigger seam allowance, and then I made sure to clip in little, what are these called? pinking shears do the same thing. You want to clip the curve so that way it bends nicely and it creates a good curve when you turn it right side out or whatnot. So just one of those things. That's what I did for it. Really, you don't need to make a contoured filter if you're doing it, but if you want one, it's pretty simple to make, and that is a good little hack that we did there.